Nézd már, ez a moly lepke. Te kell a székeket, ne lássuk itt. Gyere, te is ülj ide, gyere!
The film begins with the tale of two individuals, Rupasov and Z. Rupasov, formerly a feared assassin, has been wheelchair-bound for the past 3 years due to injuries. On the contrary, Z has lived with a disability since birth, necessitating the use of a wheelchair. Z resides in a dormitory with their friend Adam and enjoys drawing comics in their spare time. One day, while Z and Adam were playing with fire extinguishers in a nearby alley, Rupasov appeared and disapproved of their actions. He became agitated and attacked Z, leading to a scuffle. However, Rupasov soon realized his mistake and apologized to Z and Adam, inviting them to his party. Z and Adam had an enjoyable time at the party. At the party later on, Rupasov proposed job opportunities to Z and Adam as assassins, ensuring them a luxurious lifestyle akin to what they experienced at the party. A few days later, Z found themselves in the hospital, where doctors recommended surgery, but Z declined, citing the financial burden left by their father, who had abandoned them at birth due to their disability. The narrative shifts to Rupasov, who received a mission from his superior. He waited for his target in an empty parking lot. When a car arrived and several individuals approached him, one of them brandished a knife and stabbed Rupasov in the leg. Surprisingly, Rupasov remained unfazed, explaining that he had lost sensation in his legs since he began using a wheelchair. This revelation prompted laughter from the assailants, followed by one of them kicking Rupasov, causing him to cough before retrieving a plastic bag from his pocket. In the bag was a firearm, which he used to eliminate each of the assailants one by one until they were all deceased. After overcoming the attackers, an ambulance arrived to assist him. A female medic named Zeta tended to his leg wound, revealing that they knew each other. Rupasov harbored romantic feelings for her and invited her to a movie after her shift, but Zeta declined, explaining she was already engaged to someone else. This left Rupasov heartbroken, and he even attempted suicide by jumping from a pedestrian bridge, yet he survived. Realizing he couldn't give up on life, Rupasov decided to persevere. The story then shifts as Rupasov receives payment from his boss, who instructs him to keep his employment clandestine and avoid collaborating with others. Interestingly, Rupasov had been receiving assistance from Z and Adam all along. A few days later, Rupasov encountered Z at the hospital, where Z was receiving treatment for his leg. Rupasov urged Z not to assist him any longer and terminated their partnership. However, Z refused and insisted on continuing to help Rupasov. Z also made it clear that they wouldn't accept any money from their father, despite their mother's attempts to persuade them. After completing his leg therapy, Rupasov waited for Z outside the hospital. He intended to give Z a bouquet of roses as a token of his affection because he loved them. However, he felt disheartened when he saw Z with their fiancée. Later, Rupasov received a job to eliminate a significant individual. He devised a plan to carry out the task while the person was having lunch at a restaurant by the highway. Rupasov positioned himself on one side of the road, while Z and Adam positioned themselves on the other sides to assist him. Rupasov successfully completed his task with the assistance of a flock of pigeons and a passing crowd, executing it discreetly. Suddenly, as the target crossed the street, he collapsed with blood on his body. While his bodyguards searched for the shooter, no one suspected involvement from 3 wheelchair-bound individuals. They swiftly departed the scene. Later, Rupasov encountered Zeta boarding a bus, who handed him an invitation to her wedding. Unbeknownst to Rupasov, his boss observed their interaction and became furious with him for disregarding their directives, pushing him to the ground. Rupasov was given another chance to rectify his actions, this time tasked with eliminating Z and Adam. The next day, Rupasov took his 2 friends fishing at a lake. Despite the challenge of navigating through the grassy areas to reach their destination, they eventually arrived at the lake and began fishing. When Adam got excited about something taking the bait and asked for help with the fishing line, Rupasov unexpectedly pushed him into the lake. Following that, Rupasov also pushed Z into the water, briefly considering leaving them there, but ultimately couldn't bear to let his friends drown. He jumped into the lake to rescue Z and Adam. Upon returning to the pier, Rupasov played off the incident as a joke, although it was the first time he had failed a mission assigned to him. After they came back from the lake, Rupasov invited his friends to a party at his house. During the party, he discussed his feelings for Zeta with them, expressing how much he loved her. Rupasov's friends wanted to assist him in winning Zeta back and began devising plans. The next day, 3 of Rupasov's female friends helped him stand up and supported him against a vehicle, suggesting that he could stand without relying on a wheelchair anymore. Rupasov awaited Zeta's return home from the hospital, but she didn't show up even after hours of waiting, resulting in the failure of their plan. A few days later, Rupasov received a new assignment from his boss to eliminate a drug dealer, with the promise of double payment. Rupasov agreed to take on the job, but he emphasized that it would be his final mission, refusing any further assignments thereafter. The boss agreed to his terms, and Rupasov, along with his 2 friends, headed to the target's house, instructing Z and Adam to wait in the car. While executing his plan, the guards searched Rupasov before allowing him into the house. Finding nothing suspicious like a gun or sharp objects, they assumed it was safe and escorted him to meet their boss inside the house. Once inside, Rupasov encountered the drug dealer and initiated his plan. He retrieved a concealed gun from the foam cushions of his wheelchair and began shooting at the guards in the house. Unfortunately, he missed his primary target. Instead of attempting to flee, the drug dealer grabbed a gun and engaged in a shootout with Rupasov. However, Rupasov had more experience with firearms from his previous job as a hitman. Despite his body not being in peak condition and his clothes becoming stained with blood, he ultimately managed to eliminate everyone and accomplish his mission. Afterward, he hastily departed the scene, aiming to escape. As he reached the gate, Rupasov heard police sirens in the distance. He struggled to unlock the gate but was unsuccessful. Zoe and Adam, who were in the car, appeared frightened. Zoe took charge and diverted the attention of the police car, while Adam aided Rupasov in exiting the house. They all successfully fled. Later, Rupasov met with his boss to receive payment for his work. Strangely, the boss took Rupasov for a drive to a deserted warehouse. Rupasov sensed that something was amiss, noticing a hanging rope. It turned out that his boss had uncovered Rupasov's plan and knew that his friends were still alive. Angry and disappointed at Rupasov's betrayal of trust, the boss put a rope around Rupasov's neck, confiscated his wheelchair, and left him alone. Rupasov struggled intensely to loosen the rope around his neck, grasping at his shoelaces with his toes to prevent choking. He made several attempts to reach his wheelchair, which was nearby, but all were in vain. Just as he was about to give up due to the seeming futility of his efforts, the knot on the rope finally loosened slightly. He removed the rope from his head and survived. Upon returning home, Rupasov quickly rallied his friends to devise a plan to retaliate against the boss who had crossed a line. A few days later, Rupasov attended Zeta's wedding with Z and Adam. He looked dashing in a white suit with neatly styled hair. Rupasov even showcased his singing talent, earning praise from many attendees, including Zeta. She became emotional and began crying, but then, unexpectedly, Rupasov kissed Zeta, sparking jealousy in her husband. After the party concluded, Zeta's husband and his companions assaulted Rupasov for his actions towards his wife. Z intervened, coming to Rupasov's aid. He threatened Zeta's husband with a gun and escorted Rupasov away from the situation. In the subsequent days, Rupasov began plotting revenge against his boss. He and Z visited the boss's hideout openly, with Adam remaining outside. Rupasov claimed he wanted payment for a previous job owed by the boss, but the boss refused and threatened to unleash his dogs on them. Rupasov then used his gun to shoot at a nearby fire extinguisher, causing the dogs to panic and flee. The boss retaliated by attacking Rupasov, causing him to drop the gun. He continued to stab Rupasov with a knife. Although Z managed to retrieve Rupasov's gun, he opted not to assist him, allowing the boss to harm Rupasov until he perished. Then, Z killed the boss and took all the money from the boss's safe, intending to use it for his leg surgery. This marked the conclusion of the story of the wheelchair killer. It turns out that everything depicted about Rupasov in the story is merely a fictional tale from a comic book created by Z. Z invented a character named Rupasov, resembling his father and sharing his disability. In reality, Z never met his father, only possessing a picture resembling the character Rupasov, which inspired him to create a comic involving his father and himself. Surprisingly, the comic gained popularity and attracted the attention of publishers, leading to great success. Z even sent a copy of the comic to his father as a memento. And that's how the movie wraps up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.